What is God consciousness? Do we have it, and does the traditionally mystical but presently rather materialistic East possess it? Are all religions really the same, or is there a radical difference? What is the Dalai Lama really telling you? How does the brain relate to religious experiences? These are just some of the questions I tackle in The Great Circle, whose subtitle is Asia, David and God Consciousness. The Great Circle takes its name from and refers to the exquisite mandala art perfected in especially Tibet, a famously unique part of the world about which the book has a fair amount to say. My starting point, however, is a trip during 2011 to the Beijing, which, despite years of living in China, I had never visited. In the wake of touring a certain mansion, I am prompted to reconsider China's most celebrated novel, The Dream of the Red Chamber, set in an historic Beijing mansion like the one I had visited. I suggest the novel contains important, sometimes revolutionary messages, including something to do with Asia's largely suppressed, very ancient and little-known notions of God. Buddhist non-theism has had its role in the Asian disappearance of or veiling of God, and special attention is given to the nature and effects of non-theistic Buddhism across Asia and in Tibet. I supply a very different picture of Buddhism from the usual treatments. Towards the end of the book, I interrogate some of the views of both the Dalai Lama on religion and his Catholic friend, the late Thomas Merton, on mysticism. In the course of describing God consciousness, I pursue its expression in the Psalms attributed to David. These lie at the root of much Judeo-Christian and Western ideas of God, certainly the more devotional, personalized kind, but which can seem difficult and archaic to the modern reader, not least because of their element of violence and vengeance. How should we read and use this legacy? A section of the book is dedicated to ways of approaching them, and this includes an argument that there are features in everything from the poetry to the psychology which point to something like autobiography, allowing us to glimpse a real historic figure behind some traditionally Davidic material. Although this book, divided into 3 parts, has elements of travelogue, philosophy and biblical commentary, it really aims to be quite practical, suggesting how one may relate to God, how use and produce religious art today. A good deal of the book stands at the important intersection of art with spirituality. As a writer who sometimes feels he lost a vocation as an art critic, this places the book among my most felt productions and personal favourites, even while I'm obliged to regard such as my Testament of the Magi, described on another video here, as objectively more news for the world. The Great Circle, like my Temple Mysteries book, but in a different way, is very much about focus, technique, and getting things right in order to see both something new and to perceive the familiar differently, in order to have, well, altogether better God consciousness in a world that clouds and suppresses vision. The Great Circle is available in both book and e-book versions.